All right. I think we're live. Let me check the group. Let's make sure we're live in the group, and then we'll get rocking and rolling. Should be good at 7 o'clock. Not a lot of traffic.
7 o'clock on the dot. Yeah. Are you
Yeah,
you live back in Baltimore, right? Okay, cool.
Yeah, you ready to roll?
Yeah, let's do it.
All right, dude. Okay, FlipTrader. It's Thursday now, which means it's our group expert training time. You remember Chandler from Tuesday from the podcast. If you did not hear that podcast, you need to. The dude is 24 years old, doing $300K a month in wholesale deals, and drops gold, and that's not an exaggeration, gold upon gold. So today is our training day from our group experts, and we're going to be talking about anything and everything wholesale. The cool thing is Chandler's going to do some training, and then any of you that want to jump on, ask him questions, run through a scenario, we're going to open it up for that too. So I'm going to let you roll with it, man. I'm going to check the group. I'll get everybody rolling in here. I'll start putting some questions in there. So let's rock and roll.
Sweet. All right, guys. So I'm going to share my screen. Let me share my screen. Click on these.
I'll stay on until make sure it does it.
I think it's there. If you can just click it and enter it in.
Oh, there we go.
All right.
Perfect.
You guys can see it. I'm really fancy. I use Google Docs for like everything, Canva and Google Docs. But guys, basically, I'm going to be showing you a little bit about like what we do at the Profit Accelerator with the Profit Accelerator program. So obviously, this is just going to be centered around anyone who's doing off-market real estate. So whether that means you're flipping, whether that means you're wholesaling, creative, whatever, as long as you're acquiring off-market, this stuff is going to apply to you. I actually just did this presentation yesterday to a small group of people from my community. And it was super fun. It was super interactive. And that's kind of how I want to keep things. So one, I want to make sure you guys are commenting down below. But as Ian mentioned, I really want to bring on a couple people who are doing some type of deals, whether that means like you're doing one deal a month, maybe you do a deal a quarter, whatever it is, but you have something active going on. And I'll do a business deep dive with you, showing you exactly how, if I was in your position, how I would take what you're doing and then show you how to basically scale it to, whatever it is, 50, 100K per month. And then also talk about how the strategy is that I would take from your business and like to remove you from working in the business to working on top. So that's kind of what I'm going to share with you today. So one, basically, like I said, I'm going to leave you today with one is that a way that you can very clearly achieve any goal, whether it's business or personal, because it's very much the same framework. Two, you'll have clarity on exactly how to make more money in your business right now without spending more. It's not necessarily going to work for everyone, but it works for 9 out of 10 people that we consult. And then the third thing is I'll give you the path. I'll show you exactly the path to building a business that you manage, not one that you work inside of. So those are going to be the 3 things that we're going to be really covering today. And I want you guys to leave with extreme clarity on. So my promise to you is I'm going to be here as present as I possibly can be, which I'm talking to the camera. So hopefully I'm 100% present as a coach, mentor, servant to you guys and share my honest opinions with y'all to help y'all make more money from the things that I've learned. So I'll be telling everyone here what they need to hear, not what necessarily you want to hear. So as we're working together, if anyone comes on here and I can consult your business one-on-one in this fashion, that's the dynamic that we're going to hold. So all I need from y'all, if you're listening, is participation. So ask any questions you guys have. If I can get anyone right now who's doing deals off market, it could be off market, it could be direct agent, whatever it is. As long as you're doing deals, comment and chat, and then we'll pull you up here on the call, and that'd be great. If not, I'll go through some other stuff of examples of how we've done this for other people. So don't worry if no one else is there. Well, this will still be super valuable. And basically, I think like everyone should do this any time you give a presentation. Alex Ramosi said, if you half sell, then you should never half sell, because he has some really amazing story about it. Like he sold like on a stage, an event, he was selling like a 1K product and in front of 300 people and no one bought it because he just kind of like brushed over everything. So I feel like it's important to just mention like why I'm qualified to talk about what I'm talking about. So one, scale a company from 15K to 300K per month. And in August, we did $504,000 in gross profit. And then I've also scaled over 100 businesses, multi-6 and 7 figures per year. So that's obviously not all my own companies. Those are the clients we work with. So I've done this transformation, seen this transformation a lot, and have made it happen for myself and a lot of other people. So share with you our timeline. So in June 2020, we were doing 15K a month. October 2020, 80K a month, February 2021, 120, March 2022, 250, April 2023, we hit, this is our max, it's like 450 in April. And then August this year, we hit 504. So I'm going to share with you the framework that we have used to see the balances from 15K to 80K, 80 to 120, 120 to 250, and then so on and so on. It's a very simple framework. It's really not complicated, but there's really, and like I'm waiting for this to break, and I'm sure it'll break at some point in time where it gets more complicated. But this ideology has worked extremely well for everything in my life, from athletics to business. So what I want you guys to take away from this call is just the process to get unbelievable results is simple and repeatable, and it's not super complicated. It's actually, I have 5 steps right here. So my unlimited growth formula, I've tested this in sports, in business, any personal development, whatever you name it. This basically, we need to define clearly where we are right now. Once we do that, we need to clearly define where we want to go, what that looks like. And then third thing is we're going to plan to bridge the gap. So we need to build a plan on how we're going to get from A to B. The fourth thing is we need to execute that plan, because 2 out of 3 corporate strategies fail because of lack of execution, not because of preparation. So the execution piece is the most important part. And the fifth part is we need to learn what went wrong, what went right. We need to iterate it, fix what went wrong, double down on what went right, and then we need to repeat this process. So I think this is a very simple framework. The key parts to this is having one measurable understanding of what things look like right now. So in business is really easy because we have numbers. So we need to know a couple key KPIs that will allow us to clearly define our current location on a map. And then because we understand as industry experts what your business should look like based on all the different variables in your business, we can tell you exactly what each part of the business should look like based on where you want to go. So now we know clearly where we are, where we want to go. And then we build a plan. So this is what I want to do with a couple of you guys, to bring you guys on, do the first 3 steps, help you guys determine where we are, what we need to do to get to where we want to go, and then build that plan to bridge the gap. And then what we do at Level Up is not only do we do the first 3 steps for you, but we're a big part in working side by side with you on executing the plan so that you not only just like make more money, but also get the life that you want, whether that's freedom, whatever it is, right? So that's a big part of it. And then we'll help you learn and iterate and repeat this process. So I'm gonna be going to today over the 1, 2, and 3. So if we have anyone who's ready to rock and roll, we can honestly go ahead and get them up here. That's super quick, super simple. And I have this document that I would actually really encourage everyone to follow along on. And if you need it, I will actually link it in the chat. Ian, I'm going to email it to you real quick if you can pop it in the chat.
Yeah, that's fine, man. We'll pop it out there to the group in our guides. Sweet. And then I'll email it out to everybody on tomorrow.
Sweet. So I just sent that over, Ian. Get that to everyone. Basically, I'm gonna open up the doc now. Do not, please do me a favor. Don't edit this document. Copy and paste it into a new place, and then like make a new one. But is there anyone in the queue, Ian? Or do you?
Yeah. So Bill's a real estate agent in Austin.
Okay.
And has some questions for you. I can figure out how to bring him on.
Sure.
Let's try this and see if it works.
Sure.
I sent a request to bring him on. I think it's actually a really cool thing for the agents in our community as they're learning to work with investors and they're looking to analyze deals better and actually offer real value, like we talked about with Brandon yesterday. I think it's a really cool thing to see an agent's perspective on this type of subject. Yeah.
I know, like, I'm pretty like this same model too will work for anyone's business, because the thing that everyone has leads. Everyone gives offers to, like, or at least reaches out to people about working together. Not everyone has contracts and sold deals. It doesn't always work like that. So there's different caveats that we can do together on this. And then everyone has an average deal size. So everyone has a lifetime value of a client. So this same model works for every business. Use it in every business I've ever worked with, all my friends with their businesses, any kind of service business. Like, so we can totally do something like that. And also he said that he doesn't see an option to join, by the way. But
no,
while we're waiting on that, I'm going to roll through a couple things. Because I think there's some valuable things that we can go through from a high level and really kind of like map out basically I'll take you guys through a strat. Like actually, I'll take you live through a situation that I had yesterday. So basically this was this person's business. I'm gonna zoom in just a tad bit, and I'm gonna explain the sheet so it doesn't look like absolutely weird. But basically we have our leads, which this is just how many total people are coming in saying that they're interested in selling. That's a lead. Then we have our offers. This is us giving verbal offers to purchase someone's house. We have our contracts, which is obviously us getting an A to B purchase agreement with the seller. And then this whole deals is how many deals we actually closed on, made money on, etc. So then we have our average deal size. This is right here. So this is the person's metrics, and I'm just gonna map this out real fast. I'm gonna tell you the story of what happened, and this should resonate with everyone. So let me get this set up. Basically, this just helps you model it out over time. Don't worry about too much here. Okay, cool. So this is their business. They're converting their leads to offers at 11%. They're converting their offers to contracts at 20%. So my first thought is that this number, my first question is like this number right here is a little bit low compared to like industry average for the lead source they're doing. So they're doing PPL. And if you don't know pay-per lead, it's basically like PPC, SEO leads, and some other types of leads. There's some providers out there like property leads, motivated leads, need to sell my house fast, high speed to lead, lead Zillow, some other ones. But anyways, their lead offer should be about 30% if they're at industry standard. So this is what they should do. Another thing too that I want to see on these numbers is I want to see an increase on their average deal size, because an average deal size of $8,000 for their market, where their median home price is around $200,000, we should be around 10%. So in Atlanta, it's around $350. We're at $34,500. So $34,500 per deal is our average. And so that's like literally right at 10%. And that's where I see all the best operators are at 10%. So that's what we're striving towards. So I've thought very easily that we could double our deal size. And I'll show you exactly like what we can do in order to make these changes happen. Because at the end of the day, all business is math. And we're just trying to figure out how to solve for the math problem. So if I can get this business who generates 228 leads per quarter, and I can get them down to do the same volume and double their deal size with 84 leads, then obviously I think everyone can guess what happens to profitability. It probably goes up a lot, right? So we make a ton more money and spend the same. So that's ultimately what we're trying to achieve, is we're trying to boost profitability so we don't have cash as a constraint, so we can grow, and then we're going to move from there. So this would be what we'd be trying to do, and I'll show you the math, and I'll talk through how we make the math change. So let's. Hey,
Chandler, I have a question for you, real quick. So why would somebody what's the reason behind why somebody's converting an 11%? What do you think?
Yeah.
Like, what's the main reason?
Yeah. So the main reason for this, so when you have an inbound lead versus an outbound lead, outbound, if this was SMS, I would not be very upset with these numbers. These would be 10 to 15% is like within KPI of lead to offer. The difference is when it's an inbound lead, you have to assume that this person is motivated unless they prove to you otherwise. So someone who's a PPC lead, an SEO lead, they are like high intent. They clicked on an ad to sell their house. So if they give you no reason to sell the house, you talk to them, they're like, yeah, I just want to sell. I'm kind of interested in seeing blah, blah, blah. But they clicked on an ad that says, I want to sell my house fast. Would you inherently give that person an offer based on common sense? Yes, you should, of course, because even though they don't tell you, no one's going to come out and be like, hey, I'm motivated to sell my house. I have all this stuff burning down. Most people aren't going to do that. So because of the intent, the reason they click the marketing, we need to give them as many offers as possible. So if it was PPC and I was running my own campaign, I would expect this number, lead to offer, to be 50 to 70%. But if it's because of the refunds and all that kind of stuff with PPL, 30% is the number that I shoot for. That's what I've seen for us and across the board for our other clients. So that's why 30% is the number. And basically the difference in the way that we manipulate 11 to 30% is if anyone comes in, there's two things that these people need to do. Is one, they only contacted about 50% of all the leads that came into them. So that's a speed to lead thing. So as soon as the lead comes in, we need to call them within literally 1 minute, is my opinion. You can really say 3 minutes based on the data, but if you can't call them in less than 3 minutes, you definitely should never do inbound. You should really call them in less than a minute, because if you call them in less than a minute, the way the customer journey works is in that moment when they clicked on the ad, they are deep in the thought and the emotion of actually their problem and selling the house. So if you catch them right in the moment, one, you're going to get them before other competition, but two, you're also going to get them in that feeling, in that state of being ready to sell. If you catch them 15 minutes later, they're probably cutting the grass or thinking about all the credit card debt or whatever the situation is going on, and they're not going to be in the selling phase or selling mode, and you're going to call them and they're not going to be interested. So it's a very, very important piece. We need to contact them right away. And the other piece of that is we need to contact these leads with someone highly qualified to make the seller feel very understood, that we can solve their problem to the highest degree. Because the way the seller journey works is, I know when I call landscapers to come cut my grass or a plumber or whatever, I just call down the Google ads list until someone answers the phone, and basically I'm pretty certain they're going to come give me a quote and get the job done for a fair price. And that's how it works. And like, usually it's the first person who answers and sounds like they're half confident, and that's how it works. So that's the same thing with a lot of these seller leads. Is, of course, not everyone's going to do that, but most people are. So that's the one piece of it. The other piece is just give an offer to everyone. If they want to sell their house and they want to hear an offer, just give them an offer. And then what might happen is you start giving too many offers to people who are wasting your time, and you can kind of like pull it back to maybe get it to where a place where you're not wasting as many times on bad appointments. So that's.
Are you giving an offer on the phone without seeing the property, like right there? You're just doing the research as you're on the call, and you're just making an offer?
Depends on the business model. For us, like, yeah, we basically do a diagnosis call with a lead manager where they go super deep into condition, and they kind of understand the seller has any kind of pain, basically any sense of motivation, any reason to sell. We don't like go into pain on the lead management call, on the diagnosis call. And then once we basically determine that, hey, this person like wants to sell their house, they kind of have a reason to do it. And again, if it's inbound, we don't really care if they have a reason or not. On that call, we just are going to set it to an appointment. But yeah, we talk to them, figure out what's going on, really deep dive condition. And I don't mean like, hey, have you done any remodeling to the house? And then like, oh yeah, I did the cabinets. I don't mean like move on. I don't mean like that. I mean like, okay, when you say you did the cabinets, like tell me a little bit more about like, what do you mean by you did the cabinets? And like, we're going to go much deeper into that. Okay, you redid the bathroom. What did you redo in the bathroom? How many bathrooms? All the bathrooms? What kind of finishes do you do in the bathroom? And like that way you're like, oh yeah, I actually haven't done anything. And then, you know, like, yeah, nothing's been done since this time period. And you're going to go much deeper. So we have a better frame of what's happening on that call for the condition of the house. And then we'll set it up to an appointment, and we try, and like, there's the main variable is like speed. So when you're virtual, you want to be able to close someone as fast as possible. So if we can, we live transfer to a closer, to acquisition manager. And if we can't, then we just set them up with the most like short time period from like when the appointment setting call was to when the closing call is. So it's the shortest time period, just because it's going to give us the biggest best chance of having a conversion. If you're in person, you just do the same thing. Just get out there to the house same day if you can, as fast as possible. That's going to increase your conversion as well. So on that piece,
I got Bill on here. If you want Bill to jump on real quick.
Sure. What's up?
Yeah, hang on.
Actually, like let me finish through this
do it.
this little bit, because I'm like, and I'll be done in probably like 7 or 8 minutes.
Yeah, man. Take your time.
Okay, so that's how we increase lead to offer, and that's why it's important for this person. The other thing is, I can pull up a little drawing thing, is anytime you're doing inbound marketing, there's 2 funnels that you can use. And usually a lot of people have lead managers, and we have acquisition managers, and then we have dispo. So if you're doing inbound leads, your leads need to go straight to your acquisitions person, because we need a qualified person to do it. And then if the acquisition person basically deems it's like a cold follow-up or not someone who's really motivated to give an offer, they're going to kick it back to the lead manager, or just kick it back into a follow-up. And then that's pretty much the gist. If you're doing like outbound, like cold calling, you're going to go straight to your lead manager. And then the lead manager is going to set it to your acquisition. So those are the 2 funnels. So I just want to make that clear, because that's one thing that people do. We'd see a lot of times is screwed up. So that's that. So increasing deal size. Let's move on to this. How do we increase deal size? The other piece too that we can see a little small piece into is offers the contract. I'm not going to go into that right now, but average deal size, doubling average deal size doubles your business. So like, how do we do that in a very easy manner? There's 3 things that we can do. Number 1 is we can buy lower. Number 2 is we can dispo higher. And then dispo higher, we can do that in 2 ways. Is 1, we can have a sell on market, which means like we do the MLS strategy, and which I'll talk about. Or 2 is we do like a wholesale, or we fix and flip, or we get better at having a better buyers list. And those are like the main 3 things we can do. So we can either buy lower, sell an MLS strategy without owning it, or we can do like a flip or a wholesale. And that's how we can increase our deal size substantially. So we did all three. So last month when we did 504,000, or August when we did 504K, we only closed 6 deals, but our average deal size was $84,000. And that's because we did 4 flips, like wholesales, very light renovations. Like we did on average probably like $7K worth of work to the properties, all funded by private lenders. And then the other ones, we did 2 MLS strategies, and that was it. So that was the gist. But the things that we did and the things that we can do in order is to increase our deal sizes. 1, we can implement the MLS strategy. It's a very easy one because it just allows us to dispo it for more, and we don't have to change our offer price. The second part is having an offer giving strategy, which basically means that we need to step our offers up in this according to the sales process. So basically this allows us to not pigeonhole ourselves. So what I mean by that is our first offer. So we have 3 offers that we give. First offer, max. This is our 3 MAOs. And then after that, we have what we call a no access max, MAO. And after that, we have an MLS, MAO. So basically what this means is our first offer, the way that we build these is 1 MLS is if we're going to do like a novation where we're just going to sell it on the MLS to an MLS buyer without ever owning it. That's this strategy. So that's the highest offer we can give. The next offer we give is our no access. This basically means that we can get 2 points of access, like a traditional wholesale price. For us, we build it off of if we're going to wholesale it because that's our exit strategy. This usually results in like a 20 to 25K assignment fee if we're going to do it off market. And the first number is what our anchor price is, our first offer. And that's usually no higher than 40K below our no access MAO. And what this did was it basically allowed us to, it's the tried and true thing. The lower you offer first, the lower you're going to end. And that's just the reality of the nature. That's just the nature of the beast. So that's what we have to do. So there's a lot of training that we can do around that of how to like not have people hang up on you, etc. It's just the way you position it. And it's just all comes down to like the rapport that you build with the person, because the only way you can give a low offer is if this is your friend, right? If you guys are very, very tight. Otherwise, like there's no way you can lowball someone. They're just going to hang up on you. Then after that, we basically work our way up to no access price, and then we work our way up to the MLS price. And then we can talk a little bit about some of those things if we want to. But that's how we offer lower. The other way is we just go higher. And that's by doing the MLS strategy, which we can talk about. And I have like a document that I'll give you guys that basically walks you through exactly how you can start to do it. I think it'd be valuable. We normally give that to our clients who work with us, but I will give you guys all of that so you can literally start to go and do these MLS deals and offer, on average about $30,000 to $40,000 more to sellers because you can dispo it for substantially higher. And then the other thing was wholesales. So if you guys don't have access to private capital or can't come up with down payment for hard money, what we did to find our first private lender was we went and partnered with a flipper and said, hey, we'll split the deal with you 50-50 if you give us access or give us the contact of your private lender. And that's how we got our private lender. And through that, we just met other people with money. And then this guy actually ended up being a really good contact. And he has lots of money. So he can fund a lot of deals. But yeah, so those are the main 2 things. Other than that, we can increase the offers of contracts a little bit with just some sales training and a sales process. So those are the things that we would do for this client. So, all right, that was a lot. So if anyone has questions, definitely drop them below. Ian, did you have any questions or want to bring Bill on?
Yeah, I'll bring Bill on. I think it's a really cool. Let me just, Bill pops up here real quick. I think this is a really cool, like bringing Bill on as a real estate agent, because there's, one, you're going to get an opinion of a real estate agent who does a lot of great deals. And 2, you're in a market like Bill's in Austin, and that market is just, is rough right now. It's a rough market, just difficult. And I think it's also like, this is also an option for everybody, including real estate agents, to open up more pieces of business where they can start going out there trying to get off-market deals and then popping them up on the MLS to get buyer leads or whatever they're going to do for their sales business. So I think it's a real thing. Let me see if Bill's ready to roll.
Sweet.
Oh, here we go. Hang on. Here we go. All right, Bill, you there, buddy?
Yeah, can you guys hear me?
Yo, what up, Bill?
All right, I'm flying my helicopter here back from Florida on my way to Austin.
But, I didn't realize
yeah.
Were so quiet.
Yeah, right. My wife makes fun of my headset, but it makes life easier. But yeah, I wanted to check in and kind of start a conversation on this because as a real estate agent, right, I run a team here in Austin, and this market has gotten a little bit dicey because we had the largest rise and the largest fall, even though we still have the highest appreciation of any market in the country. You would think the sky is falling, right? And sellers here have been incredibly unrealistic in where they want to be, and there's a huge delta between what buyers are going to pay and what sellers are going to sell for, and that's made getting listings difficult, and our inventory is low. But my question becomes along the lines of this: is I feel that because I'm not having these conversations and I'm not looking at this the correct way, I'm missing the opportunity to find wholesale opportunities or to find them where they may be an opportunity to list. So all I do is have conversations with people all day. And what I want to get into is having these chances where I can meet people where an offer right now might be something they need. And we might have the opportunity to wholesale a property, or that turns into a listing opportunity that I can go get that home listed and have that as a regular listing and conventionally do that. But where does the real estate agent start to really start having these conversations at a higher level, to be doing this in a little bit more of a volume, to find the people that need this help? I like to be a problem solver, and we have a lot of problems in this market right now. So where would your typical real estate agent start to be able to find these opportunities out in the wild?
Yeah, so I think that it all comes back to like understanding what the numbers are. So what do you do right now because like there's a lot of nuances we can, like I definitely have some like thoughts of like where we can go with this, but before I do that, I have a couple questions. Like, what do you do right now for like lead gen, and like how many, do you know like how many like leads or how many like listing appointments you guys go on, and then how many?
So lead gen for me it's always been sphere and referral. I mean, we're very database driven, sphere driven, tons of events, being in front of people, just really being part of the community, which has been fantastic. But now that there's less deals happening, and I have clients that are, they're well off, they're smart, they're not necessarily transacting. I've got 10 million in deals on the shelf that we're just pushing to next year. So we've had to be a little bit more, we have to pivot and try to figure out more things. I've lost probably 5 or 6 listings this year that I should have gotten, for being honest, where it's, okay, this home is going to be 675. Like, well, we want to sell it for 800. I'm like, you can list it for 800 all you want. You're not going to sell it for anywhere near that number. And it just wasn't a fit for either side. So typically my conversion rate, was high. I mean, 90% plus. This year has been lower for that reason. And I've been, because of that, looking to pivot into more looking at expireds and withdrawals, and I got all that data and actually was able to pull about 1,700 emails over the last 10 months that Ian and I were actually working on putting together a campaign for that. I'm looking to pick up more listings there, and that would be a great place as well to trickle in some of this information on what we could do, and be able to hit those 1,700 people with an email.
Yeah, for sure. So I know like I'm not licensed, but I guess I do know the problem you're definitely running into, and I think you already have identified, is like you just need more leads, because if referrals are drying up, like you just usually it's like anytime there's a recession, things tighten up, you gotta have, like for us when the market dropped, like our lead to deal went from like 70 to like 90. So it's like that doesn't seem like a huge deal on the surface, but that's like a 20% more marketing to get a deal. So it's substantial. So you're probably seeing something similar. So I think like if I'm you have to get a source that's not referrals, because I deal with something similar from like Level Up. So like we close like I don't know 5 or 6 clients a month from like organic, just like referrals and like word of mouth, that kind of stuff. But yeah, that's great, but it's not super predictable. So like we had to build a like a direct response type campaign to like really make it something that's predictable. It's, you know, a predictable business that can grow much quicker, because, you know, word of mouth is like, yeah, it's exponential at some point, but, you know, it's going to cap out and grow slowly over time. So we had to basically add in like, you know, paid ads and all that kind of stuff. So I think that you have to have a strategy on getting more leads. And I know that people like, I don't know exactly what's the common thing to do for real estate agents, but I do have some buddies who do like, they do around $2 million in commissions a year in their wholesale company. They have like a brokerage. And all they do is they get their listings. So they run TV ads and radio for like wholesale deals. And then a lot of those are just retail listings basically. So I'm pretty sure like you could just take a lot of the same marketing channels that we do, whether that's like cold calling sellers, texting sellers. Texting is probably like not a great one to get into right now, but cold calling sellers, or running, you know, I don't know, like any kind of campaign like that, maybe doing like pay per lead or something like that. And then taking these leads that would be maybe wholesale deals, maybe you can wholesale them, maybe you can turn them into listings. And then just gotta kind of understand like how many leads it takes you to get on an appointment, how many appointments it takes you to get a contract, and then what's your value of a contract once you get it? Like, does it monetize? How long does it take to monetize? That kind of stuff. So, I mean, I would go that route. I've heard people doing expired. I have a buddy who does like wholesales exclusively off the MLS, and he said expired listings are like absolutely horrendous unless you're like doing creative finance, because they just already don't want to sell for a reason. And like, that's kind of how the gist of the market is right now. So I don't know how that will work. I'm sure it will work. Everything does work to a degree, but I would say that probably the best thing to do would be like the easiest turn plug and play would be to hire like someone overseas as a cold caller, pull a list of like, you know, I don't know, 10,000 people, and then just have them cold call, send you anyone who's interested in selling, and then like set them up for appointments to go and like give them 2 offers, give them a cash offer, and then if they don't want that, then give them a listing.
Right. Yeah, and that's kind of, that was a thought that I had as well. And what we're seeing a lot here is there's people that are trying to sell, and they're lucky if their value is what they owe in the loan, because of the big drop that we did have. And anybody that bought in 21, 22 is just stuck.
So that's one thing that's kind of nice with data is you can go to PropStream and you can basically say like for example, what we do is we only target people with equity. So like we'll target people who've owned the house for like more than 5 years, and we know that they have equity. So like we'll do absentee owner to 5 years equity, or we'll do owner occupies with 7 years equity, or 7 years ownership. And then now I just get people who've owned the property for that long, because that's, I think it's what average 7 years, like when people want to sell their owner occupied house, is like what it is.
Yeah.
So that would be like kind of like where you could even start is like people who've owned their house for 6 to 8 years, owner occupied. You could probably like drive your price point up, and then I would just do a ton of cold calling to that list, and like, because those are going to be people who, especially if you like remove the bottom, like you can on PropStream you can go and like remove like the lower valuation homes, so you can like keep that price point probably like up above like 500K. So like, your commissions are still pretty nice. So it makes sense for you to spend money on the marketing. And then I would just like target, that would be the list I'd probably start with if I was you. And I would probably you could pay for a cold caller, $1,500 a month, $2,000 a month, buy some data for a couple grand, and then skip trace it with like batch skip tracing. And then that's where I'd start.
And then when you're finding those options, and then you're looking on the wholesale side, right? And then that's an option. That's something that they're interested in. I mean, where, obviously we can go into FlipTrader, and I have some contacts here, but just kind of general question, like what's the best bet there in order to get that best option on the resale of that contract?
Like you mean like how to sell it for the most, or like what offer to make?
You're talking about disposition, like how do you get rid of the contract? How do you assign it? Right?
Yeah, like how to find a buyer. So how to find a buyer, so if you're going off market, I mean, we sell it on market, which is like kind of like contrary to like what most people do. But if you're gonna go off market and sell it, it's fairly straightforward. Is I would go to the MLS and I would look for every property that's, depends on the exit strategy. If it's a flip, then I'm gonna go to every property that's like super crappy that was bought, and every property that's ARV, obviously flipped, and I'm going to call those agents, and I'm just going to network with them and find out who their clients are and if they're looking to buy more properties. And then once you call like 50 people like that, you should have it sold very easily, and you would have a good network.
That makes sense.
And then anything else that's as is, it's similar. So this is called tap rooting. Anything else that's like this, let's just say you have like a kind of a nice product. It's like not a shitter, but it's also like not like market ready. Maybe it's like as is was what we call it. So it's like, yeah, people could live there, but it really needs like a little sprucing up, you know, to like really be nice and market ready. Is we'll go to other properties that sold kind of in the similar condition where people are looking for like sweat equity, and we'll call those listing agents and say, hey, I have a off market property that's basically, it's honestly exactly the same as your home. Maybe it's a little bit worse. It's a good sweat equity play, but it's an off market opportunity. It's a little discounted. Do you have any people who might be interested in this in your own network, or did there any buyers agents come to you that maybe made you an offer, but it didn't win, or it's just a little bit too low for you? Do you have anyone like that in mind, or that maybe like comes to your mind? And then a lot of people are like, yeah, I do. And then they can send you over that client. That's another way you can dispo for the most. And then you can sell conventionally that way.
That's a great idea.
Then Chandler, I think that agent a commission.
Yeah, we pay them 3%, whatever is common for buyer agents. We put it on the assignment.
Yeah, there's a huge untapped market here in today's kind of evolving market, especially in a city like Austin, where people are terrified to make a move on either side of things.
Yeah, I don't know how Austin's doing it right now. We actually have a client I talked to like a month ago who joined. He's in Austin and San Antonio, and he's doing a couple deals a month wholesale wise in Austin, Texas. So he said things are getting a little tighter right now, just like with the market changing. So it's kind of seasonality stuff for right now, but rates are high, so it's a little bit more exaggerated than normal.
We're really seeing the big movements in our market here are younger or first-time buyers who just don't know any better, and this is just what it is. They got to buy a house. Obviously, the big life changes, and new construction is huge here. And then we're seeing a lot of boomers that are cashing out and selling their homes that they bought 30 years ago and moving to the beach or moving by the grandkids and buying in cash. And those are the biggest pieces. Everybody in the middle is just kind of holding right now.
Yeah. And maybe if that's how the market's going, that list that you pull, maybe it looks a little different. Maybe it's like 20 plus years ownership or something like that. You could test a couple things.
And I have that data. But I'm gonna
go to like a company like Call Geeks is like a decent call center company.
Okay.
It's like $6, $7 an hour, something like that. And you just grab a cold caller. It's not super expensive. They'll get you a couple leads. Each cold caller should get you, I think, 3 leads a day. And then we're converting about 20 to 25%, give or take the time period, into appointments. So, so I mean, if that's the case, like it really honestly to get listings, I would imagine you should be able to easily get a listing or two a month from that. I don't know that number.
Well, there's that, and then the idea. And then if there's a wholesale deal in there as well, like that could be. That's just something I haven't done, and I'm just trying to think of extra ways to generate income and find creative ways in this market to be successful.
For sure. Yeah, if you've been relying on referrals, I'd definitely say like getting a sustainable lead channel that's like a little more controllable based on dollar in, dollar out. Because like referrals is fantastic. Like it's so profitable. You spend no money, very little money, just networking, all that kind of stuff. But if it dries up, then it's kind of hard to, at least because that's how my dad's business work. He's a landscape construction company. And like he does like a lot of business off of referrals. And I'm like, dude, like, what do you do if your phone doesn't ring? He's like, nothing. I just sit there and hang out. I'm like, okay, cool. I'm glad like you're in that position, but I would stress out.
Yeah. And that's, my people are in that middle group that's holding right now. I got a, picked up a listing this week, which is great. I'm excited about it, but there's 6 more that were kicked to the spring, and we'll see if they actually pull the trigger when March rolls around.
Yeah. So, I definitely think. I think you know what to do. I think you just gotta pull the trigger, honestly.
Yeah, I was just gonna say that, Bill. Like we've been talking about a lot of different ideas. I think this confirms what you and I are going to talk about tomorrow, and then
Yep.
let's figure out how to execute on it. That's the biggest thing right now. It's just we got to execute.
Well,
and Chandler and I talked about that on Tuesday.
Getting the cold caller is a great idea. But when when you're hiring somebody, I mean, are they going to have the ability to have when you have those cold callers? I mean, we get these cold calls all the time where it's immediate like trash, but are they pretty good in being able to convert the conversations?
Like if you want, you could do this in two ways. It's like one, depending on how good your network is, like if you know other people, I think the best way to do it, and especially for what you're doing, because I know you're trying to do maybe a wholesale deal here and there, and that'll come through. But in general, if your bread and butter is like talking to like homeowners who own $1 million house or 500K and they want to sell, like they actually do want to sell. It's not just like, hey, I'd sell if I got 200,000 over ask or whatever. Then like you're gonna need someone who's pretty good on the phone. So like what I would recommend is like if you can find someone who's like a commission only person who can come in and like just cold call and like you give them a good portion of the deal. Whether like for wholesale, like like be common to like 15% for this scenario. So whatever if like a $20,000 deal, they get 15%. It's $3,000. Someone would come make cold calls for a few hours a day. And if you get a few people doing that, then that's how you could really generate some revenue, like not doing a whole lot of overhead, but also having some quality. And then you just train them on what they need to say and like the basics. And there's simple cold call scripts. I mean, Brent Daniels has the most basic, best ones, just the 4 pillars, like talk through like, okay, condition, timeline, motivation, price, and then like basically create a lead. And I mean, you're a personal person, you know how to talk to people. So I would say like you'd have no problem training up on someone.
Yeah, for sure.
And there's like call gigs, like it works for people. A lot of people use it. I have buddies that have like 45 callers with them. We have like we use a company that's similar to them called PPS. They're not amazing callers, but I mean they get the job done. So it's different ways for everything, but depending on the clientele you're talking to, you definitely going to want a better person on the phone.
Yeah, that's good advice, man.
Yeah, I mean, I would kind of try to tailor those, the different callers. Yeah, definitely the list I would give them would be a little bit different.
Yeah, if you're going strictly wholesale, like, absentee owners, 5 years plus ownership, that'd be like the first list I'd pull, and then maybe from there move to like a high equity, just owner occupied, which would be like 7 years ownership, just general. But yeah.
That's cool. Well, Bill, thanks, dude. Appreciate you.
Thank you guys. Appreciate it.
Yeah, thanks, Bill.
See you, buddy. All right, dude.
Sweet.
It's like 45 minutes just rolled by fast.
I know, dude. Just getting a chit chat.
Yeah. It's all valuable information because there are other people out there just trying to figure out, like, what do I do to pivot? How do I take action quickly? I know Bill really well, so we've been talking about additional strategies, like how are we going to do this? And the FSBO isn't expired and the withdrawn lists are good. However, people are expired and not back on for a reason, like you said. Withdrawns are off for a reason. Yeah, there's a bunch of expireds that'll come back on. The majority might not, depending on what city you're in. And so you got to have a
based on the way the market was over the summer, like if it's expired for a reason, in my experience.
Yeah, because they went on it, like Bill was saying, they went on at 800,000. The market says 625 because they're looking at the 2021 market or the 2022 market in a certain city like Austin.
Yeah.
And you can't get that number anymore, but they don't know that until it gets proven to them, even though the proof is in the comps.
Yeah.
But some people just want to know. My house is better. You know how that goes. My house is better. I have a better bathroom. I have a better kitchen. But that's just the name of the game. So I think we'll implement this strategy and then we'll report back to the group and let everybody know how it went. And
for sure.
And
I think
dude. So
I was gonna say one more thing too, like on this piece, and like I think everyone deals with, like even myself, just like being in a position where you want to pull the trigger, but like for whatever reason, like like I need to pull the trigger. Like, okay, I'll give like a story that literally happened this week for me. Is for Level Up, we have one program that was the core program where it's people who are doing like 15, 30K a month, trying to scale like 50 to 100K per month. But like this whole other group of people that we can service that are, you know, a little bit more developed in their journey. Like they have like a team, you know, they kind of are like looking to like just get a little bit bigger, a little bit better. So maybe they're doing like, you know, 2 million a year or whatever. And like I've been wanting to launch this inner circle program for like probably a month, and I've just been like kind of working on it and like iterating it. And I wanted to launch it and it'd be perfect. So it was like keeping me from doing it. But then I realized like, dang, honestly, me not launching this program and like making it perfect is making me zero progress, because when I launch it, it's still not going to be perfect. So this week we just like launched it. We hopefully will sign up someone today for it. And like, or we had a couple people who we're talking to right now, but in like long story short is like by me launching it, having conversations with people in the group who want this product, the service, I learned 10 times more than I would if I just like sat there and thought about like, oh, what should I offer people? Like, what should I do? How should I build this? Now I know exactly how I'm going to build it, because I talked to like 5 people who like exactly say like they want exactly what we have. So it's like, you know, just do it and then figure it out. It doesn't need to be perfect, because I think it's a huge like, it's just like anytime you're not taking action, just like think about why you're not, and like it's like, okay, well the thing that's gonna make me more money, I'm just not doing it. And you want it to be good, but really, unless we're like a $100 million company, like you don't need to launch something and be perfect day one. Like we don't have that bandwidth, that luxury. So
isn't that the thing that most people worry about, is like, especially with an online course or something like that, they're going to look bad, they'll look stupid, they're going to look like they don't know what they're doing. And that's the stuff that fills their head and prevents action.
Yeah. I mean, I think it's true. I definitely know I was like, man, I don't want people like to buy this, like not have success. But then I'm like thinking about it, I'm like, okay, well, if I'm going to only take on like a few, like I'm taking on 3 people for this product. So like, I'm going to be able to control the outcome very, very well for the first 3 people, because I'm going to be heavily involved. So like, okay, that's kind of stupid to think that they're not going to have success, because I'm going to be like, I'm not the one who's like directly consulting them. I have a person who I've hired to do that, but I'm going to be heavily involved in their outcome. So it's like, there's no way to let them fail and like waste money and all that kind of stuff. They're going to see a huge return on their money. So it's overcoming those limiting beliefs in your own head. Like it happens all the time. I was talking to a buddy today who's like wants to make a change in his business. And it's like, it's the reason he wants to make that change is for a limiting belief that he basically believes that like, hey, I can't take time off because my team's going to be like upset that I'm like here playing golf, and like, you know, like, what, you know, it's kind of like they're gonna like leave, and then all this, it's all like fear-based stuff. And I'm like, dude, that doesn't like, if you're trying to shrink your business so you can have freedom to go do it, that's like a horrible reason to do it, because you're still gonna have that same fear, you're gonna overcome that same belief, and you're gonna have a smaller business to make less money. So it's like, do you actually want to do that? And he's like, well, that's a good point. So it's like,
dude, I had the same conversation with the same guy you're talking about yesterday. Yep.
Yeah. That's hilarious. Yeah, I know exactly who you're talking about. Obviously, because we both know that person.
So yeah, man. And so look, dude, I really appreciate your time again this week. I mean, you've given us 2 great hours of amazing content. Look, to the audience, if you didn't get your question answered, you can drop it in this chat and Chandler will check this, and you can reach out. How do people get a hold of you? Where can they find out more about your stuff? Because dude, listen, here's the commitment to the audience. Everybody at FlipTrader, all the group members, I have vetted, like severely vetted any person that I put on here. There's nobody coming on here that is not at the top of their game. There's nobody coming on here that's just trying to pitch you some shit. Every single person on here wants to help and has something to help if that's what you're looking for. Other than that, take the free training and level your life up. But if you need more, you got to take action. And you got a guy on screen right now that did $500,000 in a month at 24 years old. He knows some things. And even if you're experienced, like we talked about yesterday with Brandon, it's not about you already know it. It's about maybe Chandler's got some of the little granular pieces to fill in some of the cracks in your business to like 2x what you're doing already. So don't be afraid to take action if you're already experienced. And for new people, because Chandler's talking at a really high level, don't be afraid to take action, because he's going to give you his systems and processes to build your business up. So like, it's a win-win no matter which way you go. The point is take action. So where can people find out more about you?
Yeah, for sure. So Instagram at Chandler Saine. Saine is Saine. So there you go. Hit me up there. That's the best place. I have a YouTube as well where I post a ton of free stuff. Just same thing, Chandler Saine on YouTube. And we have we're obviously in this Facebook group. So I'll be responding to any comments. You guys tag me, and I'll get to it as soon as I possibly can. I don't hop on Facebook as often. So if you have a direct question for me, definitely DM me on Instagram. I check it every day. But I am excited to give a lot of value to this group. And I do think that one thing that I'll leave the audience with is basically directly to what you said, Ian, is like, there's a lot of little things that come to like that we like 2-3x people's businesses very, very quickly with. And most of the time when I talk to someone, they're like, dang, like the stuff you told me is like all things I know. And that's because most of the time we just need to be reminded and not taught new things. Like most of the stuff that is going to get us and unlock us to the next level is just like right between our ears. And it's more about the way that information is positioned and presented. That is what unlocks the next level. It's not that you don't know it. It's like you kind of know it, but you don't know how to piece it together. And that piecing, like I asked myself the same question. I'm like, why are we not at $1 million a month? And it's because we haven't figured out how to piece that information we know together yet. And that's why we're not there yet. So it's like once that day comes, and it clicks, so we'll be there. But
it's a natural occurrence of the formula dialing in. That's really all it is. Same thing for personal growth and development. It's just a natural occurrence. The goals or the thing that you're shooting for at a really high level, it's totally possible. You're totally capable. You just might not be the person or have the systems or structure or formula to get it at this moment. Doesn't mean it's not possible. Most people, as you know, most people will just be okay with where they are because the work to get to that next level is hard to them or challenging or scary or whatever it is. So, dude, I love what you're doing, man. Support the hell out of you. Like, admire the hell out of you. Like, I love watching guys that, just built something incredible, just dominate. And I think the most important piece, what you're doing here, is you're giving back the information. And you didn't say like, yeah, I'll come on your FlipTrader thing, but you got to pay me some money. Like, you and I talked a long time ago as I was building this, and you were like, yeah, dude, it sounds cool. I'm in. I'd love to share. I'd love to help out, like whatever you need from me. And I really appreciate that, man. I know the group does too. For sure. I appreciate it. I mean, I actually like truly love this kind of stuff. So I'm glad that I get to come and do it. So appreciate you, Ian. Appreciate you guys at FlipTrader, and I'm excited to keep on talking to you. Yeah, dude. So I'm going to send out an email with Chandler's information. I know your team's going to be in our group kind of talking to people and answering questions too. So if anybody has more questions, you can drop them in this chat. Chandler's people are going to be reaching out if need be. If you got more questions and Chandler doesn't get to you right away, like the team will help you. Every Thursday, we got this training, a new group expert every Tuesday on the podcast. And that same group expert comes back on Thursday to give you every bit of what's in their brain. And if you need more, they got more. And like I said in that welcome video, FlipTrader members enjoy exclusive deals with anybody that we bring on to do our trainings and our podcast. If you need more, again, it's not a sales pitch. If you need more, you can get more. And if you don't, you take what we give you and enjoy it. And that's what we're here for. So thanks again, brother. Yes, sir. I'll see you soon, dude. Talk soon, Ian. Yep. Y'all. FlipTrader, we'll catch you next Tuesday on the podcast. Next Thursday, we're going to be talking about foreclosures. See you on the next one.